Yo, so it's crazy. I don't even know how to begin. This story is bananas, like literally. It's crazy ass story. I can't even fucking believe it. So, I'm at the supermarket. Here in the Orlando area. We call our supermarkets Publix. It's just so fucking bananas. That's a crazy fucking, that crazy painting probably says it all. So much going on in that fucking painting. So I go in, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to get a pack of cigarettes. I shouldn't be smoking anymore. So I'm like, oh shit, well, what can I do to distract myself? So I don't go to the front because, you know, as soon as I get there, the clerk's gonna be like, you know, what can I get for you? I'm gonna be like, yo, here's $7, give me a pack of cigarettes. And then I'd probably walk out and go smoke a fucking cigarette. So I'm like, oh, well, do something else, Tank. Do something else. And I'm like talking to myself, you know, because I'm the crazy guy. And, you know, not hearing like any voices or any shit. But, you know, like internal dialogue, like saying, I just don't do it. Don't get the fucking cigarettes. I'm like, oh, should I get some scratch off tickets? Play some lottery? Win some money and then buy like 20 cartons? I'm like, no, don't win any money because then you'll just buy more cigarettes. So I'm like, okay, I'm low on cash. And I don't want to get the cops called on me for just like loitering in the supermarket. So, like, do I get one of those shopping carts? But those are a fucking pain in the ass. They're so awkward to, like, roll around, especially when you're not, like, what am I going to just grab a shitload of groceries and then not buy them? Then you still get the cops called on you. So, I'm like, please, no cops. I don't want to deal with any cops. So I'm like, you know, I bust a left. I get the wagon anyway, but I'm just like, okay, I'll roll the wagon around, but I won't get any groceries. So the first thing you hit is like, there's like all the shit in the aisle, you know, buy one, get one free, BOGO, buy one, get one, you know, all this shit they do at the supermarket. I'm like, that looks tempting. Well, can't bust any of these boxes open because then I get the cops called on me. You know, everyone nowadays is on the lookout for the crazy guy, and I've like labeled myself like to no end as the crazy guy, and everyone and their grandma is looking for the crazy guy now. And you know, in the last couple years, it's Tank Lip and fighting mental illness. Tank Lip's got mental illness. I'm like the stigma buster for mental illness, but now everyone's on the lookout. Like, even if you're handling your mental illness good, you know, everyone's on the lookout for you. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should go back in the house, but I'm already in fucking Publix. I'm already in the supermarket. So, like, internally, I'm like, well, what, like, counter thinking, like, all my moves. Well, if I do that, cops getting called. If I do this, cops getting called. So I'm like really thinking I should just leave the supermarket. But I hit the bakery. That's like after that little aisle of like all those BOGOs, all those buy one, get ones. Now I'm really in trouble because now I really want to bust open some of the food and like dig into some brownies or some shit or some apple pie. But you know, apple pie is not the thing you just bust open. I mean, maybe some brownies, you bust open the box like, oh, I was just taking a brownie and I plan to pay for the brownie. But you can't just bust open an apple pie and start eating it with your fingers. And then if you go bust open a box of utensils and start eating the apple pie, then that's even more conspicuous. You're definitely getting the cops called on you. So I'm like, no, don't do that. So I beeline out of the fucking bakery. I'm like, fat guy in the bakery. It has never in eternity been like a good look. I mean, if you're looking to pick up chicks, it's not a good look. They're like, oh, well, that's the reason why this guy's fat. He fucking camps out in the bakery, busting open apple pies and eating it with his fingers. You know, so let me just paint like the locations of like where I'm at, like, you know, so you can understand like the design and logistics of this particular supermarket. You know, obviously I came in, I went past the little aisle of BOGOs, all those buy one, get ones that I had no money for. And then I went to the far left of the supermarket. On the far, I mean, and I'm at, you know, there's 20 something aisles in the middle of this, all through the middle of the supermarket. And, you know, on the far right of the supermarket, past those 20 aisles, is the pharmacy and the dairy section. So I went to the left where the bakery is on like the far left of the supermarket, past the BOGOs, and I'm like, okay, after all this deliberation, I've got to bust the fuck out of this bakery. It's just not looking good. So then you hit the frozen section, but not like the frozen section that sells all the microwave meals and the frozen vegetables. This is the frozen section of the ice creams. I'm like, this is not looking good either. There's all this fucking delicious sherbet and Ben & Jerry's and Haagen-Dazs and all the different Publix ice creams. And if you're trying to pretend you're being healthy, you could go, and then there's the Weight Watchers ice creams, but those have all those artificial sugars. And I'm like, the bottom line is I shouldn't be busting open anything. I'm the fat guy that doesn't plan on buying anything. I'm just killing time just so I don't buy cigarettes. And here I am. I made it out safely out of the bakery, and then I'm in the fucking ice cream section. And I'm like, there's nowhere that's comfortable. It's really just like a good analogy and metaphor for me in society. I don't fucking fit in anywhere. And I go to the bakery. I'm not thinking it's too comfortable or safe there. And beeline the fuck out of there. And okay, now I'm in the frozen section with the ice creams. This is not fucking good. All right? And the only place it's ever really safe is me and my desk and my coffee with all these fucking crazy paintings with everything. If you could zoom in on the painting with everything going in there, that's everything that's going on in my head in the ice cream section. And, you know, I'm seriously contemplating like busting open some like rainbow sherbet. And I'm, you know, the only thing stopping me is I'm like, I didn't like the colors. You know, I would have preferred like just a nice raspberry sherbet, and they're fucking serving the rainbow ones. And so I get past the sherbet, and now I'm at all the Breyer. I mean, I have a million different Breyers ice creams, okay? And these days, Breyers ice creams got fucking everything. There's Reese's Pieces Breyers, there's M&M Breyers. And I'm thinking, do I bust this open? And I'm like, oh, something clicks. You're still a fat guy. You didn't lose any weight from the beelining out of the bakery section and getting past the sherbet. You're not going to look any less conspicuous busting open the Breyers. So I fucking escape past that. And then I'm at the fucking Haagen-Dazs. Like, that's my gluttony. Now I'm really in trouble. The only saving grace about getting the fuck out of the Haagen-Dazs section is the produce section is behind. I don't even know how that makes any sense. Whoever planned these supermarkets had fucking schizophrenia too, because, and no offense against anyone with schizophrenia, I mean, they're geniuses. It's like Beautiful Mind, whoever created these supermarkets. But it actually makes no sense. Who puts the produce section right after all the fattening ice cream? The balance? I guess that creates some balance of opposites or something. So whatever. So I get fucking past the Haagen-Dazs, and I'm just I'm blown away. I'm baffled. Because who's fucking there? Right near the tomatoes? DAYLYT, who I never fucking met in person in my life. Through all these years of the saga of Tank Lip versus DAYLYT, we have never actually met in person until yesterday. And then all of a sudden, he's standing there at the fucking produce section with all these fucking ripe-ass tomatoes. And I'm like, well, it's going to be real hard to beeline out of the produce. So, you know, it is what it is. I went over to him, and he's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing over at these tomatoes? And we just start chatting and shit, and it's nuts. And we just start talking about what vegetables we like. Like, it's not even about rap or battles. And we're literally going one by one through every vegetable. I'm like, yo, you digging this squash? And he's like, it's alright. And we get to the broccoli, and we're both just flabbergasted. We must have talked for 30 minutes about broccoli, and it's nuts. At this point, we're loitering. I mean, I beelined out of every section I had gotten so far in the supermarket, and you know, the people that work at the store, they're starting to come over and keep their eye on us, and it's getting real awkward because we're just camped out at the broccoli, like just shooting the shit about broccoli. It must have been, I don't know, 30 minutes we fucking shot the shit about broccoli. And I'm like, yo, you sure you don't want to go over and check some of the celery out? Some Macintosh apples, Red Delicious apples. You know, what about we go beeline back to those tomatoes and check out those Campari tomatoes? I'm like, fuck it, we could make a picnic, you know, put some lemon juice on it. They have these lime juice things. I mean, we could have made a fucking salad. They got like the nice croutons, but then I'm like, yo, we're definitely getting busted for loitering, and the cops are gonna be coming there. So he's like, what about those blackberries? I'm like, yo, I don't eat no fruit that got cell phones named after it. So he drops it. He doesn't press too hard on the blackberries. I'm like, yo, but what about the strawberries? I'm like, these are fresh farm strawberries. And it gets real tense. He thinks I'm trying to like hit on him or some shit. I'm like, you know, years and years of this battle, and we never actually spit the bars in person through the whole saga. And he got real uncomfortable when I asked him about the strawberries. So he's like, yo, let's just go back to the broccoli and keep it cool. I'm like, all right. And all these clerks and shit and stock boys and managers, they all were walking around like vultures and shit. I mean, it was just like a Eminem Rock Bottom song at this point, like how they were following around with the vultureness. But then this girl shows up, and she works there. I've definitely seen her like a million times. She's got her Publix uniform on, but she's fresh out of a motion picture, this one. I never seen someone so beautiful. And I'm like, oh, yo, well, I got a wingman now. Now I'm not Mr. Solo Act busting through apple pies and utensils and stuffing my face in the bakery. I got a nice, cool wingman, Mr. Devon Campbell, DAYLYT, like, you know, just his presence. I could go bust a couple flirt lines and words to the girl, and maybe I won't seem so crazy to this hot chick. I mean, she's motion picture like Hollywood hot. Beautiful, beautiful girl. I never seen, I mean, her face on her is like a doll, and her body's stacked too. And so I start spitting some words to her, and it's going real cool. And Devon's like just letting me do my thing. He's just standing there. He's not being flamboyant like he can be. And you know, my game is like pretty tight with her. And until her, Devon's like, you know, ask her what she thinks about this broccoli, because we're back at the broccoli section. And it got awkward finally after like 20 minutes of shooting the shit with her. And all of a sudden, she just kisses me. It's crazy. And so I know whatever game I was spitting, like, was decent. But then, like, Devon's stepping in my territory. I'm like, yo, Devon, should we be battling or something? I'm trying to keep the rap stuff out of it, because, I mean, this could be my next girlfriend or something, you know? And before you know it, me and Devon are tag teaming this chick right next to the broccoli, and it's getting hectic. And, you know, we're feeding her tomatoes, squash, eggplants. I mean, if we had a stove, we would have been melting some Swiss cheese and mozzarella on it, and we would have had eggplant parmesan for her. But we're feeding her raw vegetables, and she's loving every minute of this produce section. I don't know how the cops are not coming for loitering, and it's just nuts. And it's definitely like a live porno at some point, and all of a sudden everyone else is frozen in the supermarket. No one's bothering us. It's just me, Devon, and this motion picture chick. And she's into it. She's into me. She's into Devon. And I'm just like, oh, well, I haven't had any ass in a while. Let's just keep this going. And all I could think is, yo, Devon, feed us some broccoli. And I'm mouthing somehow like this is really happening. And he's like, no, Tank, you feed her broccoli. I'm like, no, she needs more broccoli. She can't breathe. Feed her some feed her some damn broccoli. She's getting lightheaded. She's dizzy. Feed her some broccoli. And he walks away for a second. It's just me and her. I'm like, finally. I mean, talk about getting crowded. I mean, it's one thing to be your wingman, but then he comes back. He didn't, you know, I mean, me and him was still talking produce. And, you know, it's getting real hectic. And he starts, like, throwing tomatoes at us. I'm just like, okay. Well, that's just, you know, now you're getting aggressive. You know, feed us some broccoli. Don't, you know, hand feed us some broccoli. Don't throw tomatoes at me and her. So that's... Not sure why he was throwing tomatoes at us. But she was motion picture fresh. And then like 5 minutes more go by, and it's getting, I mean, we're having an orgy in the produce section at Publix in Orlando, and we're not getting kicked out. I was so worried about getting kicked out of the bakery for opening apple pie. And, you know, we're ramming it in, this motion picture hot chick, and feeding her broccoli. He's throwing tomatoes. And I'm finally, you know, let's just switch it up. Just switch it up a little bit. Let's move over to the kale. I mean, kale is the new thing. 270% vitamin C. Why are we feeding her all this broccoli? Like, literally, like, he's ramming it from the back, and I'm, like, feeding her broccoli in her mouth. And all we could mouth at that point, like any innuendos or something hot and sexy we could say to her, all we could think of saying was, yo, feed her more broccoli. She can't breathe. Feed her some damn broccoli. She needs more broccoli. And finally, I'm just like, yo, ease up. How much can one person eat broccoli? Like, switch it up and give this girl some kale or something. Apparently, no one cares what we're doing. The whole staff at the supermarket's frozen at this point. No one cares if we're loitering. We've made a ruckus and no one stopped us at this point. I mean, what's going to be the difference if we feed this girl some kale? She's obviously into it. Otherwise, she would have gone and got the manager, but she's loving it. I mean, she thinks we're rap stars. She doesn't think we're rap stars. It's not even about rap. We're just ramming it. Devon's tagging her from the back. I'm tagging her from the front. I'm feeding her broccoli. He's feeding her broccoli. But after a while, you know, how much broccoli can one girl consume? So I'm like, yo, can we just take this over to the kale section? I got some diced onions over there, you know. So finally, you know, we all put our clothes back on and we go over to the kale and we bust open the bags of kale. And if you thought the broccoli was hectic, we must have been messing around with that kale for like an hour and 45 minutes. At this point, we're in the produce section for 3 hours. It's like the supermarket wasn't even I think the deli closed down at this point. I don't even think any of the workers were still in there. It's just me, Devon Campbell, Mr. DAYLYT, and this motion picture hot chick in the kale section at the produce section. And I'm just like, all I could think about was a cigarette at this point. Like, the whole thing was just stay away from the cigarettes. But, you know, I think they lock up the cigarette cabinet after closing hours. I don't know how they didn't kick us out. And I'm like, fuck, kale it is. The girl wants kale. We detoured from the broccoli. She wants kale. We'll give her kale. Anything to keep this motion picture chick going. I mean, shit. Back in the days, it used to be all about, you know, bringing someone home. Apparently, crazy things happen in produce. And, you know, the supermarket is cold. If you ever notice, I mean, one place it is not hot is in the summer. I mean, you could be in the paper goods section at the supermarket. It is air conditioned. So I'm like, well, I don't really want to go in any other sections, except the produce is kind of cool too. Like literally cold. Keep all the veggies and the fruits nice and fresh. So I think we're actually, like, at this point, we're locked in. We're locked in the supermarket. There's no going home. I didn't even sleep last night because of all this. I mean, we were literally in, I don't know, I never seen a girl with a love for veggies like this. And who would have known that DAYLYT liked his fruits and veggies this much? I mean, eventually we did make it back over to the blackberries. Fuck, I ate some too. And the strawberries. And I was worried that she was going to pass out. About 2 o'clock in the morning, apparently we introduced a love for broccoli so much. She's like, please feed me more broccoli. Feed me the broccoli. Feed me the broccoli. So we're feeding her broccoli. Like, we're not even all having sex at this point. Like, she just wanted to be fed broccoli by 2 grown men. It was nuts. I mean, all those chicken wings in the deli we could have made it to. No one in the store was stopping us. We camped out with that broccoli. She must have had 90 pounds of broccoli. She only weighs probably like, what, 120, 130, and she consumed basically 80% of her body weight in broccoli. Yeah, she's basically pregnant, but just she has a lot of broccoli in her belly right now. And all I can still hear, all I can hear is feed me broccoli. and we fed her the broccoli. We kept her happy. We rammed the shit out of her, and we fed her broccoli. And to be honest, I still think Devon is still in the supermarket sleeping in the produce section. We never spit any bars. We never got to spit any bars. It was just me, him, and this motion picture chick. And all this produce. And come to think of it, I don't even know how I didn't go back to the Haagen-Dazs section and get any of that ice cream. But I couldn't keep my eyes off this chick. And my main concern was that he was going to take those Macintosh apples and try to do something crazy with her body and these apples, like stick it up her anal hole or something. And that's just wrong. You don't stick a Macintosh apple up there. You don't even stick it in the front side. I mean, that's just wrong. You don't do that. At least the broccoli is healthy. Her sugar never got too high. Her sugar is probably perfect. Yeah, her sugar level. She's never going to be diabetic. She ate so much broccoli. She's good for a lifetime. So, yeah. I don't know if she'll ever talk to me again after fucking feeding her so much damn broccoli, but she loved her veggies.